Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome into the video. So we had a few very important developments happen in the stock market last week. Have a lot to talk about in this one, including in a very important earnings week coming up ahead, what's going to happen with this pullback in the market and where to buy that pullback, some areas of interest and what scenarios can potentially play out with that, and then go over a bunch of individual stock setups and trade ideas. So let's go ahead and get into the video, and as always, there are timestamps down in the description below. So last week we had the first real pullback happen in a while. The S&P is only down about 1% from highs, and the Nasdaq is down about 3.5% from last week's highs. This is an important development though, because it is the first real pullback we have had in weeks. Before then, every single micro dip was just being bought up. On Tuesday, I tweeted this out saying where the S&P was a logical place to expect at least a pullback, and that has played out so far. The big breakout that happened in the beginning of June was out of the base from 3,800 to 4,200, which is a 400-point range, and the measured 400-point move from there is at 4,600, right around where it topped last week, and has played out well so far. So a few important things to note is as of right now, this is nothing more than a healthy and a needed pullback. It could go down another 2% lower while still being a very healthy move to cool off the recent trend. My personal lean is that there is no extended bear case here, as long as the S&P is above the 4493 to 4500, which was the most recent breakout zone. Failing below there could start a larger pullback, but for now, like the trend has been for months, the market is in a strong uptrend still. My mindset for the market's trend is very simple into next week. The 4484 to 4494 zone is the key short-term resistance, and bears are in short-term control as long as price is below there. Breaking above that zone would likely start a leg higher for the market. So now zooming out to the larger trend, bulls are in control of the midterm trend as long as above the 4493 to 4500 zone, and in control of the longer term trend as long as above 4200, which is that major breakout trigger back in June. So now if you ask me my absolute dream scenario, it would be a large pullback to retest 4200, hold from there, which would just be a simple retest of the breakout as support, and then from there would likely fuel a move to new highs if there is a strong reaction from buyers, which would be highly likely if this was to play out. If you ask me what I think is most likely to happen though, based on the recent trend, I would say something like this. See a pullback to the previous breakout zone around 4,500. Maybe it has a slight undercut below to fake out some traders and to run some stop losses below there, and then reclaiming back above there and squeezing to a new high. Now I will not trade and try to predict these things though. I will just react to price action and take it day by day. Maybe this small dip gets bought up and the market runs higher next week, or maybe this will turn into a much larger pullback. It can help to run through some scenarios like this to get an idea where we're at, but nobody knows what the market's going to do, and the most profitable traders don't try to predict, they just react to price. A very important thing to pay attention to as well this week will be earnings. Lots of big tech reports the next week, including Microsoft and Google on Tuesday after the bell, and Meta on Wednesday after the bell. These will be big market movers, and the most important thing to watch is how the market reacts. There's a good chance that earnings numbers will be strong for these companies, but the question is, will this turn into a sell the news event because the stocks are extended and valuations are pretty high, or will they go higher if they do report strong numbers? Last week, Tesla and Netflix earnings were not perfect by any means, but they were overall good numbers in my opinion, and as we know, the market sold the news pretty hard last week. We will see if that trend continues for the rest of big tech, or if those two were just outliers. The number one stock that I am watching closest for earnings into next week is Google, ticker symbol GOOG. I talked about this one some last week as a name to watch after this trendline breakout, though it fell back down due to weakness from the broad market. It is now backtesting the breakout trendline as new support and has been set up in this consolidation base since May, so there is a ton of energy built up there for a large move if it does break out. If earnings are positive and get a good reaction, this has a great chance to fill that gap back above at 133.75 in my personal opinion. Another stock that I'm watching closely this week is EOS Energy, ticker symbol EOSE. We talked about this one some last week as a name to watch if it retests the previous major breakout zone at 3 to 3.3. It is doing that exact right now and tested the bottom of the range on Friday. What I'm watching for a trade opportunity with this one is a break back above 3.3 to enter long and have a tight stop loss back below, which could look something like this if it was to play out. Until it reclaims back above 3.3 though, I will be on the sidelines, but will be stocking it for an entry for when and if it does, as a great risk reward setup. Boeing, ticker symbol BA, has been in this tight consolidation pattern for over 7 months now, and once it breaks, it will likely see a very large move. And I wrote a deep dive on how to trade setups like this in the newsletter posted yesterday. For anybody interested in reading and subscribing, it's the first link down in the description, and it's 100% free. The 215.5 to 220 zone is the key resistance that I'm watching for Boeing, that it needs to break and hold above to start that breakout and leg higher out of this base. If the market goes into risk off mode, which means investors flocking to safer stocks, then Boeing is a nice candidate to watch that could get some nice inflow and result in this breakout if so. The initial targets above that I'd be looking for if it does break out are around 230, 242, and then 250. Another setup that continues to look great is InMode, ticker symbol INMD. We entered long on this one 2 weeks ago on the day of the breakout in the Discord chat at around $39 per share, and talked about it some last week, how the ideal scenario was to consolidate or pull back to set up the next push higher. And last week it gave us exactly what we wanted to see, very tight consolidation on very low volume after the large volume spike on the breakout. I'm watching this one for a break above 46.46, which were those recent highs to start that next leg higher, which could then target 48.3, 50, and then 52.9 as those next levels and targets above. Rivian, ticker symbol RIVN, is another stock that is holding up great after its recent run up and is building out this tight bull flag. This is the one that I'm watching closely for either a clear and obvious break higher, which would likely be on heavy volume as well, or I'd be watching for a pullback to the 20 to 22 breakout zone and fill that gap down while washing out some weak hands, and then potentially explode higher from there if that scenario was to play out. And assuming that we get at least a little larger of a pullback from the broad market, the biggest thing to watch is individual stocks that are holding up the best, also while looking for some bull flags and simple higher low patterns to set up, which can then result in strong legs higher when the market goes back up as well. We will see what happens next week, take it day by day of course, and don't overreact to just a small pullback in the market. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. For anybody interested in joining the private Discord chat, that is linked down below to get my personal trade alerts, nightly watch lists, and I answer any questions you have in there. Also, for those interested, the newsletter is 100% free. I'm talking a lot about my strategies in there, and we'll be posting about the top fat pitch trade setups that I'm watching moving forward. So I will catch you all next time. Best of luck trading this week, and peace out.